Hi Glenn, 5-0 loss today against Yeovil. Obviously they came down from the National League last season and their quality told, particularly in the second half.
Yeah, I don't think you can shy away from that. We were suitably impressed with their quality, even in the first half. You know, they were very young in the first half and played a few trialists, but they were full of determination and highly motivated. And I thought that was a real sort of opener for our players to sort of aspire to. You know, you could see that they're playing for their livelihoods, they're playing for contracts, and they clearly want to do something this year, Yeovil Town.
Yeah, just picking up on the first half performance then, when Yeovil did have a mixture of a side with trialists and youngsters, did you feel you did enough to trouble them early doors?
Again, very similar to Saturday. I felt at times our build-up play and winning the ball back was really good, and we got ourselves in some great positions in terms of the final third, and we just lacked a little bit of composure. I think that's what we're looking for. It's not just about the condition and having the physical attributes to make yourself to improve into how you want to play. We've got to get ourselves in better positions to be able to get on the end of these crosses and balls that are put across the box, and we're almost sort of looking around at each other, and we've got to take responsibility. But you know, that's what Thursday night will be about.
Yeah, is it a case of certain forward players, taking a chance on a cross, maybe having a gamble and getting on the end or something?
I think it's several items we're looking at. Is the movements of players, then you're looking at the sort of pass detail, and you've got to have the intelligence to know when to get in front of your man, and you've got to have the energy from a midfielder to break into the box, and your wide players have got to make the box. And so, you know, there's a whole host of items to consider, and as alluded to earlier, and Thursday night that's what we'll sort of be discussing, you know, how we can get on the end of these passes.
How would you assess your display defensively?
Good question. First half I felt we were really well organised. I felt Yeovil had a couple of movements in the central areas that were problematic, but as soon as the communication improved and we defended the central areas better, there was a good willingness to get behind the ball. I felt we were quite hard at times to break down in the first half. Second half, I think once you start chasing the game, you're always a little bit more open, a little bit more expansive, and ultimately there were some tired legs out there after an hour, and then, you know, the big guns come on and ask you all sorts of questions, but that's what we want, and that's what pre-season's for. So, you know, we give a good account of ourselves defensively. It wasn't a lack of winning. I think it's a true sign of where we are as a team at the moment in our pre-season schedule.
What could your defenders learn from playing against players like Callagher, Reece Murphy, Jordan Maguire-Drew and Frank Newell?
If you can't learn from them boys, you know, you might as well pack up and go home. But the movements, a couple of them are when they're dropping in, you know, in the decision making of if you need to go, can you be more aggressive, or you leave gaps and spaces behind, and then ultimately the centre halves to cover each other, you know, but they happen so fast. You know, James was sort of talking about how quick their movements are, and then, you know, you see the goals we conceded, the way they peel off. You know, you've got to get out there quick, and then, you know, that fast to slow mantra has got to be with you, and you know, if you sort of Churchy's looking at and stopping the source because he's very protective of the back line, but you know, there's so many things to learn from that game tonight, and hopefully the boys will watch it through, and you know, they're the tests you want to go through.
As you touched on, work to do in training on Thursday, but you have a game against lower league opposition on Saturday in Wimborne. What do you make of them and, as a team, and what are you looking to see from your boys on Saturday?
Yeah, I think they're technically, you can define them as a lower league opposition, but I think Silsey and his team have been quite clear on their objectives, and they want out, and you know, want to go to the league above us. So they're going to be a real test. We're obviously in Thursday, so it's going to be I think a more realism about our play and where we are in our schedule, rather than playing against a Yeovil Town. And I think 5 fixtures in now. This would be number 6. So it's a great fixture for us to play against Wimborne on Saturday, and it's a local derby as well. We've had some real good battles and always close games against them, whether it was pre-season last year or the league fixtures the season before. So very much looking forward to it.
The type of manager who makes comparisons between teams. I think Wimborne got a good result against Yeovil last week. Do you see it as a game to sort of measure where you are against a side like Wimborne?
100%, yeah. It's I'm not bothered about their results against Yeovil. I'm not bothered about our result. I'll be bothered about our result and performance against Wimborne. As I said, they won't be your usual step 4 team, very much like Frome and even Bashley. So this is going to be a true measure of where we're at, and we have to give a good account of ourselves. Otherwise, it leaves yourself too much work to do. I think after Saturday, it's 2 weeks we have left, so that will leave us with 6 sessions. So every moment, and I think Eastleigh's the last fixture on the Tuesday. So and then we've got a run-in of 4 sessions where we can spend a huge amount of time together. So you don't want to give yourselves too much work to do, and you don't want to be too far off of where you want to be on this fixture on Saturday. So so we're thoroughly looking forward to it.
Yeah, and looking at the personnel we have for Saturday, how are Shaq and Alex Moyes going to fare for Saturday? Obviously, they came off injured today.
Yeah, it's really early. Harvey's carrying a knock as well, so there's 3 of them, but they've had good minutes. Them 3 boys, so they're all impact injuries, which is nice. There's no real heavy traumas in there. So if they need to be rested or need to be left out, then we'll leave them out. We certainly won't be risking anybody for Saturday's fixtures, but we have good numbers in them positions. So Leighton's had to sit out tonight frustratingly, so he's chomping at the bit to get amongst the goals. And then Harvey, we've got good competition down that right hand side with Yordi and Jake, and in the engine room there's a bit of competition with Lewis had to sit out tonight, so if he can come straight in, and the young lads Ashton, Jamie and Tonzi have been doing themselves no harm whatsoever too.
Always. Callum Buckley missing for the last few games. What's the latest on him?
Yeah, Buckers has had a bit of swelling in around the knee joint, so we haven't risked Callum, so we're still working on his condition. So I'm not sure he'll be ready for Saturday. Again, we're just not willing to risk anybody.
Final word on Jack Wright. Thought he stood up well against very tough opposition today.
Yeah, Jack done well. I think from a manager, you're always a little bit concerned whether players almost they put the brakes on a little bit because they've signed, the ink's dried on the form, and you're a bit concerned whether you think are they going to relax. But he's full of determination, full of motivation to do well at this level of football. He might need to be held back at times. He's learning all the time, but he's very much a sponge. But you can be very pleased with his performance as he has with his pre-season, which is exactly why we signed the lad.
Ben, thank you very much for your time. Cheers.
All right,